Okay, let's do this. So firstly, I'm going to section the hair around the occipital bone, or a halo section if that's what you want to call it. Now when cutting, make sure that your sections are clean and even, otherwise you're going to be in a lot of trouble and your cut won't be even. See how neat I'm being? Now in this case I'm actually leaving the fringe or the bangs out because my mannequin's hair is so short. If I clipped them up, they would dry and be sticking out. Okay, now I'm sectioning from behind the ear and clipping the front section forward. Now we start with the mullet at the back. Now if normally you would cut your guideline at the bottom if you're cutting off a lot of length, but here I have the length that I want. I just want to create the layers. So I'm angling my fingers so the hair is getting longer at the bottom, and I'm pulling each section out parallel to the head, but I'm angling my fingers, cutting into the hair, point cutting, but cutting into the sections as well. This will create texture and movement to the hair. Great if your client has curly hair. You can see the shape forming already. And again, keep your sections clean, otherwise you're going to have long, weird bits and your cut will not be even. Look at that, texture already, looks great. And I'm just slicing some bits at the end, just giving that some texture. The cut was quite blunt, so just shagging up those ends. All right, now I'm taking the front section. I will clip that little bit of fringe away because it will become annoying. Now we need to blend with the existing fringe. So if you don't have a fringe already, you can create one, or you can cut a longer bangs or a longer fringe. I'm slicing down just to get my shape, and I'm blending those sides. So we're sort of disconnecting with the back there, and now I am layering, similar layering to the back, but I'm actually pulling the hair straight out perpendicular to the head, but I am moving my fingers and creating that angle with my fingers. And now we do the other side. So firstly we will blend that into the bangs, and this is where you can get quite creative. We'll keep that section at the back separate and it's a little bit disconnected. Always checking to see, using your mirrors, in this case I can stand in front of the model, to make sure that your both sides are even. Yep, that looks good. Now remember, this haircut isn't supposed to be perfect. It's actually designed to be messy, so you don't need to spend ages getting every little bit even, just as long as it is symmetrical at the front. Now we're moving on to the next section, and we are sectioning across just at the crown and combing that down. Now we are going to blend, taking in pie sections, and again curving our fingers up and slicing into it to create that shortness. So in these type of haircuts, your finger angles are what's going to create it for you, rather than using your sections. It's more angling your fingers. So as you can see, I'm taking them in pie sections around the back of the head and angling those fingers up. It's creating shortness, but I'm blending top section to the bottom section so there's no random hair. I then take a section just at the crown, pull it up and chip at the top just to take that point off and cut into the hair a little bit. So now you can see the shape coming along, and you visually just slice into the hair. Now this depends on hair thickness and curl. Okay, now creating an increased layer through the top section. So taking a middle section either side of her part line, and I'm going to lift that straight up. Now I'm going to connect front to the back. So this is what gives it the mullet look. And we're going straight up, and each section is going to come up to that point to create an increased layer. Now this is where we are incorporating in her bangs or her fringe, and again you would have cut that prior to getting to this section if your model or client does not have a fringe already. Now we are just using our angle again with our fingers to blend top to bottom, and there you go, we have the shape. So again, pulling everything up for an increased layer and just slicing, because this type of haircut needs to be shaggy and messy. It should be quick, fast, and cut into. It's just what makes the style what it is. The shagginess is the part of the hairstyle. You probably wouldn't do this on someone with dead straight hair. It needs a bit of wave or a bit of curl into it. If you do, you will end up with a more mullet look, which is fine, but it is a softer look if the hair does have some wave or texture to it. So again, using our fingers to just blend together. And there she is. She looks nice and shaggy. So now we're just going to slightly layer that fringe so it sits a bit softer. We don't want it to sit like bangs, because then she'd look very 1980s bangs with a shaggy hairdo. So we really want to create that shagginess through her fringe. And look at her. Isn't she lovely? No comment, no expression on her face. Hope she likes it. Now we blast dry. I'd put in some sort of texturizing product, a beach spray, a volumizing spray, and in most cases this can be hand dried. Curly haired girls or boys can put in a curl product and let it dry naturally, but people with a slight wave might want to start using a brush, and the flick out is the best way. So curl it up and out. Again, should be a pretty easy, straightforward hairstyle to blow dry. It should not be something that is high maintenance and takes hours to blow dry. It's supposed to be messy. It's supposed to be shaggy. That's the point of it. And when you are doing this on your clients, you need to be explaining this to them, how they would style it at home, show them the techniques, and this should be fairly easy for most people. Those who actually have a kick in their hair, yeah, they can blast dry it, let it go, blow dry it with a brush, or like I said, curly haired people can just let it dry naturally and shag it up. As long as it's got texture in it, it will actually move and look like a shag. So make sure that the hair has a texture product in it and some movement, not something you'd probably wear dead straight and iron. Might look a bit strange. So as you can see right now, it's having a very 1980s blow dry feel. It won't look like that at the end. Of course, we're going to put product in it, unless that's what you like. If you like that 1980s blow dried feel, go for it. Maybe some good old fashioned like a hairspray and you're ready to go. But most people would want to see a bit of texture in that. So once we're done, I'll show you how I texturize it and create movement using products. Products are extremely important in haircuts like this, as you want to use the products to create movement. Otherwise you end up with this kind of fluffy look. And if your clients don't know they have to use product and let it dry naturally, they're just going to end up with a very bad looking brushed back 80s hairdo. So this is definitely something that you need to explain to them and show them as you're doing it. So she's done. You can go through now and cut into it a bit more. You can use thinning scissors if you want to as well, depending on the hair type. Thinners are great It just depends. They can be overused, and if they're used on the wrong hair type, then it can actually make it look frizzy. So she has quite dry, frizzy hair. Of course, she's a mannequin, and so I probably wouldn't go in on a hair type like this that is quite rough and textured already and a bit dry. I wouldn't use texturizing scissors. That's where I would go through and section and personalize and just cut into it a little bit. And again, if you haven't created enough texture before, this will give it extra texture. You can't you can always over texturize, but you can't over texturize this kind of haircut because it's supposed to be shaggy. But yes, you can over texturize, as in if you do too much texturizing in your client's hair, it will end up not being texture, it will just be shorter. So be careful of that. It is designed to be just to create texture, not to lose any length. So don't be an over texturizer, because you will make someone very unhappy and it will take them forever to grow out if you do that. And when you texturize as well, don't texturize too close to the roots, because again, so wrong. It will create short pieces in the hair, really short pieces that will stick up on most heads of hair. And so we texturize the ends, so probably about 2 centimeters from the ends of the hair is all you texturize. So as you can see now, she's looking quite textured and messy looking, and this is going to be super fun. Always blow out the loose hair on your clients. You don't want them going home with hair falling out into their car or onto their jacket. And also, you don't want to put product in and then have hair all stuck to your hands. So we're using the Beach Doll matte. Make sure you rub it into your hands quite well. Don't ever clump it in. And we're texturizing. So get it in through the hair and in the roots, and then you can piece it out. And look at her. She looks so happy, she's stunned. So you can use things like powders or hairspray, but overall something like a texture paste. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.